Press Pass NYC is a nonprofit organization that helps public schools in New York City start student newspaper programs and start student newspaper programs in a way that's sustainable. So I know lots of schools might want to start a newspaper. They aren't sure really how, they aren't sure what they need or the best way to approach it. And then sometimes they're not sure how to keep it going.
And what does it take to start a school newspaper?
What I found in lots of schools when I go to is that, it takes a lot of teacher commitment. And for a lot of time, you have teachers that want to do it, but they just don't know how. And people would come up to me and they'd say, Ms. Fogel, wow, you should really start a newspaper here. Wouldn't that be really great if we had a newspaper for the kids? I'm like, yeah, do you know how to start a newspaper? And I don't. I've worked on newspapers before, but I don't know how do you start a newspaper? How do you actually start one?
In their first year with 23 schools so far, Press Pass NYC partners with Baruch College to help schools with the program.
Baruch College has something called a high school newspaper program that was started almost 20 years ago by a high school newspaper advisor in New York City. She found Baruch to be the sponsor, and eventually Baruch took the program over. And a journalism professor there, Jean Belton, is the director of that program. And she and it have really become Press Pass NYC's core partner. 3 times a year, she runs a virtual Zoom class on how to advise an online student newspaper.
Lara Bergen and I work very closely together to really support each other's efforts and to be sure that we're not duplicating each other's efforts. And Lara, just helps in a lot of ways. Everything from keeping track of attendance, like which schools have attended, which is helpful for me because we want to know how active they are, but also I'm giving out CTLE credit for teachers.
Press Pass NYC gave us just a great leg up. It gave us a good start. I came out of the program in Baruch College that was literally, I think it was called How to Start a High School Newspaper. The best thing about Baruch is that it gave us practical advice, and it started us from nothing. It assumed that we had absolutely no idea what we were doing, which was a correct assumption, and then it built us up over the course of the class so that we could actually do it. It then also gave us access to people that could help. So we have a journalist here that works with us from Newsday, and he volunteers his time. All of that is coming through Baruch. All of that is coming through Press Pass and Pen America.
Students involved are gaining a lot from the program.
I do think it helps them academically. I think it helps their writing in a way that traditional writing instruction doesn't do for them to the same degree or in the same way. I think it makes students more community-minded in their school, and it helps bring the other students who are reading the newspaper, their audience. It helps bring the whole school community together in that way. But yeah, I think it's part of the pipeline for journalists also.
One of the schools involved is HS 223 in the Bronx that runs the Eagle Express.
It's definitely helped my writing because I have so many people looking at my writing, specifically Mr. Foco. He's not my ELA teacher, so it's definitely someone else to look at it. And I have other people, like my classmates, who are also editing and telling me ways that I can revise and improve.
Since joining a newspaper, I've learned a lot more about writing skills, considering that in a newspaper you have to be a bit more realistic, but at the same time more attracting to the audience.
When I go to college, I want to be on the newspaper. And I was thinking of also doing a minor in English so that I can continue becoming a better writer. So even though journalism isn't necessarily my first choice in my career path, it is something that I do want to continue for my own personal endeavors.
When I found out this year that there was going to be a newspaper, I was excited. I always loved writing. I had a passion for writing, and I would write I would journal, I would write any story, and I would show it to my parents since little. So for me to have this program, it's like a blessing.
I have thought about becoming a journalist since I have a habit of wanting to release the truth about truth that people don't see. So not exactly a sports journalist, but more of a news journalist, more like an expose type person. Like make people see these things they don't see.
In the summer, we had a student editor boot camp. We have continuing throughout the school year workshops and speakers that they can come here to speak with. One school we helped to attend a national journalism convention in St. Louis, the Journalism Education Association's fall convention. I was able to take 6 schools to the Columbia Scholastic Press Association's fall conference. New York City schools don't go to that conference that much because unfortunately it's expensive to go even if you don't have to travel.
I still want to be an engineer, but we actually had a trip to Columbia. It was the newspaper conference, and they mentioned how whether you want to get into a technical field, you still need to learn journalism. It actually sets you apart from other competitors. So I could be an engineer while still pursuing a journalism background.
I do think that my kids at this school needed a voice. They needed a way of expressing the things that they were seeing, righting wrongs that they thought were happening. I think that they needed an opportunity to be heard. This is an opportunity for teachers, for administrators, for community members, and for their peers to read their thoughts and the things that are happening.
I'd like to establish a really robust working model of how a school can start a student newspaper, kind of a recipe for success that we can then kind of replicate in other places.